Hello, the topic of our whiteboard session today is design thinking. Design thinking is an innovation methodology, and you could say it's furthermore a process to understand customer requirements and translate them into solutions. But let's dig into the process in more detail. What we typically do is we identify a problem and then we immediately jump into solution mode. And this is quite standard practice because we have trained this for a long time, identifying a problem and then finding solutions. But this quite often doesn't lead to solutions that really fulfill the purpose because we have not really digged into the problem and have found out what the root cause of a problem is. So design thinking is doing two things. First of all, it first tries to understand the real problem before we work on solutions. And furthermore, it steps back, first identifying the user, which could be an external client, which could be an internal employee, the user that has a problem or a need, and then developing solutions to fulfill both of these. So design thinking on a high level is a three-step process. And we have two spaces that we open up. First of all, it's the so-called problem space. Understanding users, our stakeholders, and then opening up the space, understanding what the real need and problem is. And once we have identified the problem space, we open up the so-called solution space, where we develop solutions based on what we have found out. So on a high level, it's these three steps. But in detail, design thinking has 6 steps. 3 here and 3 here. We start with understanding who our users, who our stakeholders are. Second thing, we observe them. So we watch them interacting with our products and services. So once we have understood, we are digging deeper, seeing them, how they interact with our products. And the third step is taking a stand, a so-called point of view. Analyzing what we have found out and taking insights or pulling insights from what we have found out. And taking a stand can serve like a springboard as an entry point into the solution space. So based on the things we have found out, brainstorming solution ideas, ideating, then building prototypes and testing them with our users. So on a high level, design thinking has 3 steps: user, problem, solution. But in detail, the method has 6 steps: understand, observe, point of view, understanding who our user is, what kind of needs and problems they have, and taking a stand. And then jumping into the solution space, ideating solutions, prototyping these, and testing them with the user. And this is quite an important point, integrating the user into our process, because quite often companies do design thinking workshops without involving the user. And this is just like design thinking, but it doesn't get the point. Because not involving the user means you just take assumptions and take them for true. By asking the user and integrating them in our processes, we get proof that what we think is really true. So involving the user is key for a real design thinking process. And we can integrate the user in 2 phases. First of all, we do it here, identifying their problems and needs, finding out the so-called user problem fit. What kind of needs and problems does our user have? And second, we interact with the user in the so-called solution space, finding out the so-called problem-solution fit, finding out if our solution fulfills the requirement and can solve the problem. So design thinking is a 6-step process: understand, observe, point of view, ideate, prototype, test, where we come from a user understanding, get into the root cause of a problem, and then we develop solutions based on this understanding. And in the end, design thinking is only design thinking if we really work together with our user. Co-creation and not just fulfilling assumptions. This is our overview on design thinking.